All right, what's up, everyone? I just want to say thank you to all you guys. It's a Thursday night. I'm sure you could be eating dinner, but you chose to join us. So thank you so much. Normally we would do these in person, but we're living in some weird times. So Zoom it is for now. Like I said, super informal, wearing a t-shirt in my kitchen. That's how we roll nowadays. So every single successful person has a turning point. And the turning point is where they pretty much made a decision in their life that they're not going to live the way that they are anymore. You know, Tony Robbins likes to say that people aren't going to change until the pain of staying the same is worse than the pain of the fear of change. So some people make that decision at age 15. Some people make it at age 50, but most people will never make that decision. So here is basically just going to be my story of my turning point, where I came from, and how this might help a lot of you guys, and how there may be opportunities for you to do the same. So the story starts with my Ford Ranger, 2007. This is what I was driving. I was driving from Hemet, California to Coronado, California, basically San Diego. I did loans from 2005 to 2007. And if any of you remember the Great Recession, which I don't know, this one might be greater, but at the time, real estate took a shit. And this time's different because real estate isn't so affected. Last one was caused by real estate. But anyway, it was so bad and homes weren't selling that I actually had to get a normal job, I guess is what you would call like a Monday to Friday, 6 to 2:30. So I was waking up at 3:30 so I could get to San Diego by 6. Driving in that truck every day, I would listen to this clip while I was driving. And I want to play the clip for you guys because I listened to it over and over and over again. And this was my motivation.
I'd go pursue whatever it is that you're passionate about and pursue it with reckless abandon. And I say that to all of you. Time is now to ask yourself the question, do I have what it takes? I think you do. I think everybody does, but not those that have already mentally checked out like your question is posed, George. But if you decide that you're going to stay in, George, get that thought out of your head that you're going to be doing something else in the future and implement and execute and become great as a loan originator. And then you won't need to worry about other industries because you'll make so damn much money in this one that it'll be a joke. You'll look back 10 years from now, laugh from your big 4,500 square foot house, being able to stay in any hotel in the world you want to, not needing to look at the price on a menu. And you'll look back and go, my goodness, to think the day that I almost quit. What a silly notion that was.
So I play that for you because I was driving to work every day and I was a loan originator and I was listening to that. And it was actually a conference, it was a coaching call. Someone else had said, hey, I'm thinking about getting out of the business, but I need to do some loans in the meantime. And this guy, Tim Brahim, just basically told him, like, make a decision to be great or get out now. I made that decision in that I walked into my boss's office and said, hey, how do I quit? And I could tell that no one had ever asked that question before because they didn't really know the answer. He said, I guess email me. And I said, okay, cool. Can I do that right now? And he said, sure. So I emailed him and said, I'm quitting. And I drove home and I decided to commit to loans, doing loans. This was right around, so during this time, I lost my house, foreclosure. That was after I borrowed $10,000 from my parents. I filed for bankruptcy and I kind of completed my trifecta of bad credit by getting a divorce, right? So it's like all three of those, all in the year 2007. So fast forward to 2008, I move into this apartment in Hemet, $600 a month, 2 bedrooms. I got 2 bedrooms so that my son could have a room and my daughter could have a room and I could sleep on the couch when I didn't have them half the time. I remember working so hard to close a loan, and it was during this time that it was just taking forever for loans to close. And 3 months later, when it finally closed, I called the real estate agent that referred me to the business and I said, hey, thank you so much for referring me the business. Congratulations, we just closed. And she said something that I'll never forget. She said, oh, this wasn't really a big deal for me. I only made $4,000 on this deal. So I drove to Keller Williams. I already had my real estate license. I said, hey, how do I sign up? I signed up. The next day I bought 12 open house signs, and I found a foreclosure, and I said, hey, can I do an open house on your listing? He said, yeah. I put up signs. People started walking in. I wrote an offer on the house that day. That offer didn't get accepted, but I remember thinking, if I can just do this 40 hours a week. I had borrowed $10,000 from my parents. Keep in mind, I'm 3 months behind on my rent on this Hemet place, and I just keep going, right? I just keep holding on, and that brings us back to my Ford Ranger. I remember to this day, it was like playing credit card roulette. I pulled up to the gas pump. I looked at the pump, I looked at my truck, and I did it. I put my last $60 that I had, because gas was like $4 a gallon in 2007 or 8. And I filled up my tank, and then I ran to Bank of America. I drove to Bank of America as fast as I could and withdrew my $60 before the charge went through, because I needed that $60. And I remember calling my dad, and I was like, and I needed that gas actually to show properties that day. And I remember telling my dad, like, I just need $2,000. Like, I'm not going to ask you for money again. I'm almost there. And I remember saying, like, I'll pay you back. And I still remember, like, he was like, oh, sure you will, just like the 10,000, right? So I won't bore you guys with the details. I will just say that I kept doing the 8-hour-a-day activities. Within 3 months, I had caught up on my rent. Actually, I bought my dream car at the time, which was a BMW 3 Series. But the best part was on Mother's Day, I gave my mom a check for $12,000 actually. I paid the $10,000 and the $12,000. And that was all in a period of 9 months. So it's just so crazy, because I remember being an hourly employee and wondering, what does it take to get to the next level, right? And nobody ever told me. I had to figure out that if you want like no ceiling on your income, and you want to be able to control how much you make, you have to stop trading your hours for dollars. Because if you're always getting paid by the hour and you're always trading your hours for dollars, then the most you can ever make is 24 times whatever your hourly rate is, right? So any kind of sales career or any kind of commission career is like, if you put in the time and you really want it bad enough, like that's where you get like that freedom, right? So I was living in a $600 apartment and 3 months behind on my rent. And some of you might be in that situation today with our current economy. So, I mean, fast forward, a lot of people will go like, hey, who's impact real estate? Well, this is from Realtor magazine. We were ranked number 9 in the state of California. That's the entire state with 250 sales. So it's our team. It's more like a family. We like to hang out. We like to have fun. Once you reach a certain level of success, then you start to go like, well, what's the point, right? This person's breaking the records. This person's doing good, right? But then you need more fulfillment. So we really started to focus on the charity aspect of it, right? So we started these Impact Club events where we have 3 charities present, and we get 100 people to come, or $200,000 for local, like Temecula area charities. And we got that inspiration from the book Conscious Capitalism. I don't expect you to read the whole thing, but you know, John Mackey, who founded Whole Foods, just talks about like a purpose-driven company that's whole mission is to be a force for good on the world. 68% of the workforce is disengaged right now, and that's because most people don't find any meaning in the work that they do. So what we try to do is use the charity and the giving back part to really make a difference in the area, because at the end of the day, there sometimes isn't a lot that separates one real estate agent from the net relationship driven. So, you know, we've used the money to build wells in Africa, provide free gym memberships to combat wounded veterans. I mean, you guys can read this here. It doesn't have to be a charity. If you're like, hey, my next door neighbor needs help, we feel like if you believe in it, then it's a worthy cause. So I know there's people on the call that probably don't know anything about real estate, and they're kind of wondering like what that could look like, right? So, but it's definitely commission based. You know, what we're really trying to do is get like a cohort together where you guys are all learning at the same time, and we've done that before in super small groups. We did 3 at a time, and you know, one of them is our top agent, the second one is our second top agent, and the third one moved to Las Vegas where she's killing it out there. So we feel like we have a pretty good track record of building meaningful real estate agents, and we kind of want to open it up to a bigger group. So what is the percentage of commission for a regular agent? So a typical deal is anywhere from 2% to 3% of the purchase price. And then from there, it would be split with the company, just depending on where the business came from. You know, if you bring in your own business, you're going to get a way higher split. If we hand you the business and say, hey, you have an appointment to go on this day at this time, then obviously the company is going to get a bigger split of that. The average purchase price in Temecula is $450,000. So if you just took $400,000 and took a 2.5% commission, that's $10,000. So your cut could be anywhere from $5,000 to $9,000 of that. Do realtors need a license? Yes, they do. And yes, all commissions are negotiable by law. So yeah, commissions are negotiable. Generally, they're 2 to 3%. See, like a 6% commission, right? It's typically split in half. Do you need a realtor's license? Yes, you do. So the first steps would be to sign up to take the real estate licensing classes. However, we can train you as you go, because, you know, it would suck to like, it takes a good 3 months to get your license, and then it would suck to wait those 3 months and then start learning real estate, because what they teach you to get your real estate license, quite honestly, it just has like nothing to do with what you actually do. So you take this test, you memorize all these questions for this test, and it just has nothing to do with the actual job, because the actual job is meeting people and forming a relationship with them. People want to work with other people that they know, like, and trust. So your whole job is meeting people and getting them to know you, like you, and trust you enough to work with you. Of course, you're going to learn like the contractual stuff, but in-house training for new unlicensed folks. Yeah, so we have a contract. It would typically be 3 to 4 days a week, broken up into a few hour blocks. There's only so much you can do at a time, right? I mean, 8 hours is just grueling, especially because a lot of the stuff you kind of learn as you do. I could tell you, hey, this is what you do when you go do a listing appointment, but you're not going to remember all of it. And you're really just going to learn by like role playing and doing it. So I would say like the in-house training is, there's going to be days where we go over contracts. There's going to be days, I think all of you have spoken to Lynn. She actually takes like live calls and sets appointments. And so she once a week, she's set aside an hour to kind of go over that with you guys, what to say, how to set those appointments. We have thousands of leads that you guys could, I mean, feasibly start calling almost immediately. We wouldn't throw you on the phones not knowing what to say, but we have opportunities for you to get on the phones right now and try to set appointments. And we'll pay you for appointments that are set. Does Impact help with our real estate licensing? Let's talk about that, one-on-one individually. I'm not opposed. I will also say, average cost is probably like $400 and there's 47 people on the call. So you guys could see how that would kind of add up. Maybe an awesome idea that I would explore is like reimbursing you for it once you've completed it. That way we all have buy-in. So that's something we can definitely talk about. What areas do you cover? Everywhere in Southern California, if someone calls you in Beverly Hills and says, well, you come list my house, I've never seen an agent say no to that. As we just closed a house in Hesperia today. We will go all the way down to Chula Vista. My grandparents lived there. I grew up in San Diego. So we'll really, you can go wherever you want in the state of California. You just got to be able to get to the property. So I hope that helps. We do all of Southern California. How does the office create leads? Great question. If you are ever searching on Zillow and you see homes for sale and then you see contact an agent, there's 3 agents. We pay to be there. If you go on Google and you search Temecula homes for sale or something like that, you'll see some ads. We pay to be there. We pay to be Realtor.com. They'll call us directly and say, hey, we've got a buyer ready for you. We generate leads on Facebook. And then we've got a bunch of just little onesie twosie sites that'll send us like referrals. Before this quarantine, you could generate leads on your own through like door knocking, calling any of our leads that we've got. Open houses are a big one that we're kind of like not able to do right now. So do I require agents to commit to contract for a specified time period? No, I'm not a big fan of indentured servitude. You know, if you guys find a better opportunity or you're not happy, again, it's like if a seller wanted to cancel with us, we're not going to make anyone work with us. That's not a good vibe for you or us. Do you require in-office or open floor time? No, I don't. That's one of the things you'll find with some of the bigger franchise companies, right? They'll try to like sell you on floor time and office time, but really what you're doing is being their free receptionist. They'll tell you like you're going to get leads, but nobody calls the office anymore. They just like, they'll push the Zillow button or they'll call the listing agent. So again, it's just a way for them to get like a free receptionist to answer their phones for them. Can I still do real estate while in college? Absolutely. If you have a license or you want to work on getting your license while you're in college, absolutely. Is this a remote position? What if we live out of state? So I guess I would say, no, it's not a remote. I mean, it's remote in the sense that you're always driving around and moving and you're not stuck to one place, but you definitely like wouldn't be able to do it out of state because California requires that every house you sell, you got to walk it at least once. What would be the average expectation in the first year for a first time agent? Great question. Obviously there's outliers, you know, that just exceed all expectations, but you're asking what would be the average. So I would say the average real estate agent should be able to make at least $50,000 to $60,000 a year if you're doing this full time in your first year. What we typically see is first year, if you go all in and grind, you should be able to close a deal a month. And it might take 2-3 months to ramp up to that pace. And what we always see is everybody tends to double that the next year, right? So now you go 12, now you're at 24, right? 2 deals a month. I mean, figure if you guys are getting, I mean, if you just take the average price, my gosh, that's $10,000 a month, right? So now you're at 120 grand a year, your second year. After your second year, that's when it starts to snowball, right? Because now you've got 2 years in and the average person in the area moves every 2 to 5 years. So now you start getting people that you sold 2 years ago and they're like, I need a bigger house. My job got transferred. Now I'm moving across the country. Hey, my brother wants to sell. Now your referral business starts rolling in. You're selling the people that you sold 2 years ago. They're referring people. Plus you've still got your current business that because you're still generating leads. And maybe now that 24 turns to like 36, right? And that's where people either plateau or like figure out what it takes to get to the next level. If I got my real estate license on my own, but wanted to start learning with your office on my own time, is there a place for me? Absolutely. Yes, there is. So do you guys flip houses at all? And can we be a part of that? Absolutely. So, man, one of the most life-changing things that ever happened to me is I was showing houses in San Diego and I was working for Century 21 and my manager, I kept borrowing his lockbox key because like someone asked earlier, how many lockboxes are there? There's 2 and I didn't want to buy the San Diego key just to show houses to one client. So I kept borrowing my manager's and he must've put 2 and 2 together that I was showing houses in San Diego because he texted me and he goes, do you want to work with an investor in San Diego? And I think that it would have been easy to ask a million questions, but for some reason I just said, just reply yes, man. I'll figure out the rest. So I wrote yes. Yes, I do. And he's like, okay, cool. Just meet these 2 investors in the office Thursday. And I was like, all right, cool. And he didn't even show up. So I was just like in front of them and they said, hey, you know, we got this plan. We want to try to flip 1 or 2 houses a month. And we need a realtor to help us. Can you send us a proposal? And I was like, okay, no problem. I run home and I like Google proposal template. I don't even know what that is. And I just download this Microsoft Word template and I bullshit my way through the whole thing. And I'm like, we're going to do this for you and we'll do this for you. And I didn't even know half the stuff, right? So they call me the next day and they're like, hey, we want you to meet us at this house that we bought and bring the contractor that you always work with. And I was like, okay, shit. So I asked everybody, I was like, I need a contractor. So I got this guy, Greg's number, and I called Greg and I was like, hey man, I don't know what this is, but it might be an opportunity. Like, can you meet me at this house like 30 minutes early and let's like bro out and we've been working together and we do projects, man. Like, let's just become best friends in like 30 minutes and meet these guys. And he's like, all right. And he's all in. So we meet him there and we walk them to the house and we're telling them what they should do to a house to get it marketable. And at that time, I've got a year of experience, so I have a good idea of what it takes to to sell a home rehab wise. And they say, okay, cool. Like, we'll let you know. And I get in my car, they get in their car, my phone rings. I look, it's them. I look in the rearview mirror. They're calling me and they're like, hey, send us a listing agreement on this and 5%. And I said, okay, cool. And I did it. And they went from wanting to buy and flip 1 to 2 houses a month to at the peak, I was managing 60 flips for them. In 2012, from 2009 to 2012, they flipped 363 homes. I listed and sold all of them. I made so much money doing that I started flipping my own houses. So that's my real quick house flipping story. So yes, I love flipping homes. There haven't been a ton of opportunities lately, but if you bring an opportunity to me, I mean, I'll walk you through the whole thing. And as much or as little as you want to be involved, maybe you just bring the deal and I flip it and you list it, or you go, hey, I want to go in on this too, but I don't know what this looks like. But yeah, we could definitely help with that. I think I rambled a lot, but hopefully you guys got some value out of that. So let's say we've got our license. What's our first step then as a new agent? If this was a normal market, I mean, a normal world, I would say like, let's get you in some open houses. Let's get you calling some of our leads. We'll start like trying to get some appointments for you. We'll get a letter, like an email out to your whole sphere. Let's get your list of everyone you know together. We'll show you how to create a custom Facebook audience so that anytime you run an ad, it goes to all your friends and family and they're seeing you all the time. I mean, we're going to set you up like on our goal. We do this 3 to 6 hour, like big vision goal planning thing, accountability, coaching. I mean, we'll get you on all that. So that's great. If you don't mind, how much money have you made in real estate? That's great. That would be interesting to go look back. It's just, I'd have to go back 12 years. And at some point you just like, it just becomes pretty consistent. So but yeah, I will say the first year I did it, I started in June or July, and I want to say I made $35,000 in a half a year. And keep in mind, that's 2008 pricing, I mean, that's bottom of the market. So, and I mean, so 2010, I cracked 6 figures my second year, and I've never since 2010 not made 6 figures. Someone says I'm all in, ready for the next step. Awesome, Craig. Just shoot Lynn an email and say, you guys, if you guys are all in, just email Lynn and say I'm all in. Give me the next step. How many agents are in your company? 45. And I would say maybe half of them do business and the other half, have a license and they're just cool with like doing a deal every now and then. All right, so Garrett, right? Garrett is our top agent, and I have to tell his story because I met Garrett in 2015 or 16, and he was a bartender at Crush and Brew. And I went in there, and I mean, not gonna lie, I was pretty blasted that day because World Cup, it was like US against Ireland, and I'm not a soccer fan, but all my buddies were like, hey, let's go to Shamrocks and we'll watch soccer at 8 a.m. And of course, if you're in an Irish bar watching soccer, you're probably gonna drink, right? So we stumble into Crush and Brew in the afternoon, and we're all like pretty lit. And Garrett's behind the bar, and he's doing an amazing job. And I was like, oh man, this guy would be an amazing real estate agent. Like, I feel like I have some kind of ability to like pick them. So I asked him if he'd be interested, and he's like the first person that I've met that was like, yeah, I'm all in. Like, let's do this. What do I got to do? So he was at Crush and Brew making $2,000 a month. I'm just gonna fast forward. Last year he sold 65 houses. He made over $300,000 a year. He makes over $300,000 a year. He bought his second house brand new. He just married his dream girl. He bought his dream car. He goes on vacation wherever he wants. I'm just flexing for Garrett right now. I mean, I think he just turned 30, maybe 31. Featured in Real Producers Magazine. He wins all these awards, Agent of the Year every single year. It's almost comical. And I hope somebody on this call is the one that overtakes him this year. That'd be amazing. Our Shoshana, maybe you guys have seen her around. You know, when she started, I met her at CrossFit. We were just working out. She was a bartender at Gambling Cowboy. You know, she was just voted most loved agent. She was featured in Real Producers. She sold 51 homes last year, made over $360,000 last year. She just started her own little team under our company. She's got 59 all 5-star reviews on Zillow, and that's just in a few years. So again, just trying to show you guys like what's possible in just a few years. What does pay look like during training? So we have opportunities right now for people to call leads to just try to set an appointment. You know, we will pay $50 for every set appointment. I mean, I think we have 20,000 leads in our pool right now that are just kind of, quite honestly, weren't ready at one time, but they could be ready now, or they're like on the website browsing, but maybe they registered 3 years ago. We've been generating leads since 2014. How do you work with Zillow? A lot of traditional agents see Zillow as a bad thing. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like, you can sit around and complain about them all you want, but I feel like at this point, for me to rebel against Zillow would kind of be like, you know, Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix and they laughed because they thought the model was a joke, right? So I feel like all the agents that are rallying against Zillow, they're not going anywhere. They have all the traffic. You know, imagine what it would cost for you to be the #1 website in the world for real estate everywhere in the world. It's like, none of us has enough money to do that, right? So let them pay for all that. They've already done that. And now we just pay for the leads. So I do think that, I mean, since there's no questions in, I'm just going to kind of ramble, but I do feel like Google is making a big play right now to kind of take some of that market share. If you notice, like, I'm just going to give you an example right now. If you went to Google and just searched like San Diego hotels, back in the day, they'd throw some ads on there and then they would throw all the top websites. Now, the very first thing you see is like 5 hotels with the reviews, the pricing, and you book from Google. So Google is very much working to make websites irrelevant, right? Why even take someone to a website? You're searching San Diego hotel. You want a San Diego hotel? Here's 5 of them. Book now, right? And then as much as they can keep everyone on their site and not even have to send them to another website, that's what they're focused on. So I could definitely see Google making a play like in the next couple years. I don't know what their time frame is, but where you search homes for sale and now they've got photos of all the homes right there, and like, forget the realtors websites, forget Zillow. Like, here's the 16 pictures of homes for sale in Temecula. Click on one and selling leads that way. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. How do you help buyers compete in this market? So what I did was I wrote a book, and it's for buyers and sellers. And I thought, how cool would it be if I just took my name off of it and put Impact Real Estate on it, so that all of you guys could just pass out this book and act like you wrote it. And what you say is, hey, we wrote a book. The reason I'm bringing this up is the answer to what we do to help buyers compete is actually in the book. And we have like pages and pages of it. And I just like, I'd rather just be like, hey, send Lynn your address and I'll shoot you a book. You know what I mean? Like, it has, we have them write nice letters to the seller telling them how awesome their house is. And we have them put a picture of them and their family so they stand out. And well, we can do certain things with the offer to make theirs stronger than it is. So I think that's like the shortest answer I want to give. Yeah, I guess I would, at this point, I'm just going to kind of like wrap it up and say, you guys, thank you so much. This is the first virtual that we've done. We would normally want to do it like at a brewery or something, have a couple beers, talk shop, and kind of get to know each other. We're all still getting used to this video world. And quite honestly, I hope it doesn't last that long because I don't like it. I like hanging out. So if you have any more questions, you can throw them in the chat. I will hang out. But at this point, if you guys wanted to jump off, I totally understand. I thank you guys all for your time. I know it's past dinner time. I'm starving too, so I get it. So thank you guys. And if you want more information, just shoot Lynn an email and just say I'm all in, and we'll go from there. And quite honestly, I'd like to meet you guys all in person from this point moving forward without a mask on. So if you guys are cool with that, just we'll figure it out.